Thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. Guess you can use thank you now as the keyword.
I guess so. What happened? They changed that all of a sudden?
Google. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What's going on with your Google?
I don't know. Google. Hey, Google, what's the forecast for tomorrow? What's the forecast for tomorrow?
Oh my God, your Google's going crazy.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to
you broke your Google.
I don't know. That's bizarre.
This is the AT Banter Podcast, a balanced and entertaining look at assistive technology, accessibility, and its importance in people's lives. Join Rob Minot, Ryan Fleury, and Steve Barclay as they banter with people around the world about anything and everything regarding assistive technology and the disability community. Now, on with the show.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of AT Banter.
Banter.
My name is Rob Minot. Joining me today, Mr. Ryan Fleury.
I'm Ryan Fleury.
And that's it.
That's it.
Once again, Mr. Steve Barclay is out on assignment.
Yeah, he bailed on us.
Question mark? No, he is out on assignment. He's actually at a workshop today, so
yes,
he's working hard. So it's just me and you, Ryan.
It is indeed.
Well, lots to talk about today. Just kidding.
Really?
No. No, we do.
Psych.
No, we've got some news articles.
We do.
And a little later on we're going to be talking to a lovely lady by the name of Chritine Chaikin, who is from Hawaii, who runs a little company called Insightful Publications. And what does Insightful Publications do, Ryan?
Well, Chritine creates state resource books for the states in the United States, of course, that include all sorts of things like transportation, housing, audiobooks,
all for the visually impaired.
All for the blind and visually impaired. Yep.
Yeah. For right now, let's just banter.
Beep, 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 beep. Banter.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
First of all, how you doing?
Today's Tuesday. I was on holidays for a week. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I should say.
Okay.
So you had 2 sets of holidays this summer.
Well, yeah.
Not bad. But vacation was good. Where'd you go?
We were in Kelowna at my wife's uncle's place again, helping him get some stuff done.
Uh-huh.
Then we went out and did some wine tasting at a couple of vineyards and brought home way too much wine.
Oh, so you must be well rested.
Well, I was busy. It was busy because then we got home on a Tuesday. Wednesday was a house cleaning day, and then my mom flew in from Alberta.
Oh, yeah.
From Thursday through to Sunday, so she just left. So it was busy.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Excellent.
Yep. Can't believe we got just over 3 months till Christmas now. Middle of September already.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah,
September is year's gone.
It's just whipping by. It's because we're getting old.
Well, yeah. And you notice that summer's gone too, eh?
Yeah, that's
Summer's
it.
done.
I don't think we're going to get a warm September this year. It looks like we're going straight into February weather. Now that we've bored the shit out of anybody who's doesn't live in Vancouver.
This has been weather talk on AT Banter.
Yeah, we're just me and Ryan are just catching up.
Yeah.
Oh, are we doing a show? What's happening?
People might like this part of the show.
No, I don't think. They
find out more
maybe
about
for
us.
like 35 seconds, and then they're
okay.
tuned right out after.
All right, go make some popcorn.
All right, well, let's talk about something else instead, Ryan.
All righty.
Hey, this is really cool. Steve sent this to me over the weekend. It's a great article about the HoloLens.
Yep, I saw this.
Yeah, did you have a chance to look at this? Yeah.
I saw the video this morning.
The HoloLens can now guide the blind through complicated buildings. So,
well, this is a prototype test they were doing. It's actually not readily available.
Sure. Yeah, granted. Well, we should explain what HoloLens is to people in case they don't know, because HoloLens I don't feel like is real.
It's a Microsoft name, so it doesn't really describe really what the product is.
Real mainstream. Yeah, but I feel like people don't really know what it is yet because it's not really. I mean, it's available, but it really hasn't broken through into the mainstream. But it's basically what what would you describe it as? Like sort of like the Google
Augmented reality glasses.
Right. So it's kind of like the Google Glass, kind of.
Right.
So apparently what's happening is the researchers at the California Institute of Technology have created an app for the HoloLens that would help blind people find their way through buildings and offer them a better sense of their surroundings. The way that they've done this is they've taken advantage of the HoloLens's real-time room and object mapping capabilities, and as well as these. And this is where it kind of blows my mind. So as well as these speakers that, like, what do you call that speaker that you can sort of emulate room placement with sound? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's kind of like virtual surround sound.
Right, exactly. So it uses something like that to give audio cues so that it can actually navigate somebody who's visually impaired through a room using audio cues and this object mapping capability that the HoloLens has, and just guide you around. It'd be like, follow, a voice would say, follow me, and the voice would sound like it's coming from like a foot in front of you. And so it really emulates the idea of an actual sighted guide sighting you through a room, saying, okay, watch the chair, go around the chair. There's handrails here on both sides. Stairs going up,
turn right, turn
escalator
left.
going down.
Yeah.
And it's doing all of this just through AI algorithms, and like there's actually no human component to this. And it sounds like it's in pretty early stages right now.
Yeah, CIT actually had to, in this app, map the route the person was going to take and input all that information. So it wasn't just a matter of
you
install the app and
right.
you start walking through a building. It all had to be kind of pre-programmed so that it knew where you were going to be at, whatever time, because it is real time.
And they say, I guess they tried it out on 7 subjects, and they say that all but one basically, was able to navigate all the obstacles and move through the room.
First time.
Yep, first time.
Try. Yeah.
So that's some pretty good stats.
Yeah, and just think if you had something like the HoloLens that tied into beacon technology, you wouldn't have to necessarily rely on just the one technology to do everything for you. You could have an iBeacon or whatever right here beacon in a mall, have all that information already preloaded in the beacon, and the HoloLens just communicates whenever it notices a beacon in range.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of marrying the two technologies together to give you all the information you need to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, and I think that this is why we keep hearing so much about AI and so much about augmented reality for this very reason, is that this type of solution, could be really powerful once it's fully harnessed and once they actually build something that works.
Yeah, and other services, like Be My Eyes, Aira, you're talking to live agents, and that's real time as well. But at the same time, AI can react much faster. It can, I guess, think faster. And I just think we haven't even gotten to the tip of the iceberg yet of what we're going to see in the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's what it definitely. I think that this is definitely the way of the future. As great as Aira is, and there's another Aira story that we're going to actually talk a little bit about later too. Aira is great, but I don't think that service. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wearing egg on my face in 5 years. But I don't think Aira is necessarily going to be as big as it maybe is right now in 5 years, because I think it's going to get replaced by apps that can do this without a human component to it. And I think that will just completely replace.
Yeah, but these are all stepping stones.
They are, but it's really amazing to me. It like this AI and these algorithms that can map a room, that can look at something and be like, that's a chair, that's a table, those are stairs going, up. There's hand railings there. I mean, that's really amazing stuff.
Time is going to tell where we get to in the next few years, because like we say, we keep talking about AI. Google's pushing AI. Apple's having an event on September 12th, which is going to be after you hear this podcast, or before you hear this podcast, sorry. Podcast will be released after the Apple event on September 12th. Yeah, Apple's having a big iPhone event tomorrow.
Yeah.
iPhone, Mac, and whatever.
Yep.
So there's probably going to be more announced on AI as well.
Yeah.
Google's having their event in October, releasing their new phones and maybe other products. So AI's been a big push this year. And, Microsoft is probably going to be due to release the next version of HoloLens very soon too. So who knows where all this technology is going to lead us. I can't wait.
And it's moving fast.
It is.
Even Aira, I mean, that's really...
Oh, in the last year, Aira's leaped and bounds ahead of where they started.
Yeah. And I mean, who knows? it might be the case that Aira, they just slowly phase out that human component, because they're already working on AI for the glasses and working on like a built-in digital assistant.
Chloe, we should probably try and get Aira on again and just find out, where they're at now. We keep seeing more and more news articles.
Right.
But find out, what's happening with their AI and what direction they're heading in.
Yeah,
because they've got more partnerships with hotels and airports and grocery stores. And
well, I think that's, and we might as well just segue into talking about Aira then, now that, the newest article is that they've made a partnership with Wegmans, which is a big grocery chain down in the States, kind of like Safeway up here. But they've entered into a partnership with them. And so I guess Aira will be enabled in all Wegmans stores across the country.
Yeah, and we've got links that we're going to put in our show notes as well. But, the video that we are going to link to, you walk up to the store and says you've entered an Aira network. And as you walk into the store, you've got the app installed on your phone, or you're wearing the glasses, and you can dial up an agent and say, I'm looking for whatever, organic coffee. They can pull up, I guess, a map of this grocery store, is kind of how I got it from the video, and tell you where that is. So, guiding eyes. Very cool. Yeah,
it's I feel like Aira they're incredibly smart from a marketing and a growth point of view. They're making really, really great strategic partnerships with it started with airports, and it's just expanded out to campuses, grocery stores. I mean, I've lost track of all the partnerships that they've, up here in Canada, they've partnered with the CNIB. So they're really, really becoming, and they're still only, we only really started talking about Aira a year ago? Probably. Yeah. They've done, some amazing work in that year. So really, really smart stuff. And, it's a really great service, but it would be interesting to hear how forward thinking they're being, because they must see the writing on the wall and know that AI is catching up, that at some point it's going to make more sense to do it without a human agent, or that they'll be able to do it without a human agent.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, AI can do predictions so much faster than humans can, and all the information that is out there online that's available can be scraped by AI faster than anybody could do a search for. So I think, we're going to have answers and resources at, in the blink of an eye. We're not going to have to wait for somebody to look something up and tell us where it is. We can just ask.
Right.
And we'll get it.
Yep. Yeah, remember when you had to phone to get the weather? Right? Or do you remember when you had to check the movie times, and so you'd phone the automated movie line, and it would give you the we used to do everything by the phone.
You're showing our
I even tried phone dating.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I totally tried that in college. Where
really?
It was this phone line that you'd go and you'd record a message.
Was that the 1-900 lines?
No, those are different. But no. Anyways, everything was on the phone.
Yep. 411.
Yeah. Or you had that TV station The TV listings station, you'd watch that, and that would have weather and news and stuff on it as well. You remember that?
No.
Oh.
No.
But, and now we just have, we have these digital assistants in our homes that you just ask. You just say the words, hey, blank, blank.
Yep.
And it tells you everything you want to know ever.
And if you don't have an assistant, you've probably got a smartphone in your pocket. It'll tell you the same.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we live in quite the age right now. So
we do. And it's, interesting because I was thinking about this the other day and, how we have all these more and more people are going with smart homes. And at what point are we going to reach a point that we end up going, what have we done? And go back to basics?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Because human evolution repeats itself. Mm-hmm. At some point, it's going to happen.
So you're saying it's only a matter of time we're going to be hunter-gatherers again?
Probably.
I know I'm going to be picking berries. I know it. I'm not going to be one of the hunters. That's going to suck.
Yeah.
I'm going to be with the women in the fields picking berries. I can't hunt a
Men can pick
bison.
berries too.
Okay, good. Hopefully it's equal opportunity hunter-gatherers and it's not one of those sexist.
That's right.
Societies. Hopefully we'll be, enlightened savages.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what AI does to us.
Yeah.
We're going to have implants, right? So.
But I mean, all kidding aside, it does raise a really powerful aid for everybody, not just, the visually impaired community, the deaf-blind community, fill in the blank, any sort of community. I mean, did the idea of AI and augmented reality and any sort of combination of those working together, who knows what it can bring. So
yeah, no, just keep watching the internet for news articles because technology is changing so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Every week there's a story on something new.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, certainly with Aira, I mean, every week there's a new partnership. So I feel like right now Aira's the one to watch.
Yep.
I'm so curious. I think you should. I don't know. We should sign up for it.
Well, I'm waiting to hear the announcement from CNIB because when we had Len on a few months ago, that partnership was, I thought, supposed to be announced this month, but I've heard nothing yet. And I've reached out to Len from CNIB,
right, and
have heard nothing. So I don't know I'm sure we'll see the announcements once it's made as to what the plan is going to look like, what subscription costs are going to be.
Sure.
But I haven't seen it yet. So we'll see. It's one of those things where I have used Be My Eyes, free service,
yep,
available 24/7,
yep,
just like Aira is. But yeah, we'll see.
Let's talk about the CNIB for a minute. Did you? And I guess you kind of knew this was coming, maybe because your ear is probably a little closer to the ground on these things. But I noticed this week that CNIB kind of launched their big rebranding effort, and they're now called the CNIB Foundation.
And I actually didn't know this until you told me.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I thought
maybe I should read my CNIB newsletters a little bit more closely.
Yeah, clearly. But no. So now the CNIB, for those people who are aren't in Canada, it's our national blindness agency, nonprofit, the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, and for years, that's just what they've been. But recently they have rebranded themselves and they're calling themselves the CNIB Foundation, and it looks like it's made up of two other organizations as well. The CNIB is sort of the umbrella foundation, and then under that is something called Vision Loss Rehabilitation Canada and the CNIB Deafblind Community Services. Ryan, I don't know, do you have any insight on why they've done this?
I think CNIB, the vision loss rehab part of it, is, I think, going to do the same things that the CNIB in past has done. So they're going to do, teaching a blind or low vision person how to cook or how to clean your house, self-care. They're also raising guide dogs. So your whole vision loss rehab is what that arm of it's going to be. The deafblind,
Obviously,
is
the same
gonna be
thing for
the same
for
thing for
deafblind.
deaf and visually impaired. I think the reason for going foundation is they're wanting to not go more, but they're wanting to dive deeper into partnerships in technology. And they realize that technology is changing so rapidly, and there's so much more opportunity for blind, low vision, and deaf people to do more despite their disabilities with technology. That's kind of what I've gotten from the article and past interviews that we've done. They are talking more with Aira. They're talking with, what was the one I mentioned the other day about the traffic signals?
Oh, right. Sure. I forgot that escapes me too, but
So I think they're wanting to establish more partnerships in the tech field.
But
not
okay.
just stick to vision rehab.
Sure. Okay.
So I think maybe it'll help clear the lines a little bit more, and it's going to take time. Anybody you talk to who says, I have a blind person, you refer them to CNIB.
Right.
That's been the go-to, for decades.
Right. And everything was just the CNIB. Like
Right.
they did it like it doesn't, I don't get the sense that they're doing anything different. They've just
Separating things out.
It just seems like they're separating all the services into a different named company.
And maybe it'll make things more efficient, more
Maybe.
effective. They'll have dedicated people who, you call CNIB and ask about, where do I find out more about ABC? They can direct you to the right person instead of, you call CNIB now and you're talking to somebody in the store when some person in the store says, well, no, you got to talk to so-and-so. Maybe there'll be dedicated departments and people you can actually reach out to. So maybe it'll become more efficient. I don't know. We'll have to see what form it takes.
Yeah, I would love to talk to somebody from the CNIB about this and just get a sense of what their strategy is.
Mm-hmm.
If they felt like they were just kind of getting bloated, and maybe you're right. Maybe they were just kind of getting bogged down in too much bureaucracy or too many conflicting agendas for each. I mean, you got to remember the CNIB is a nonprofit, so a big part of their life is fundraising.
Right.
So maybe they felt that was also easier to separate out those services into a different entity that's all they worry about. I don't know, but it just seems to me that a rebranding effort like this, it's a lot of work, and it's a real big step, especially for an organization that's God, how old is the CNIB?
I don't remember. We'd have to Wikipedia
It's like
it.
60. I mean, a long time. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and they rebranded themselves a few years back as well when they went
they got a
from
new logo,
Vision Rehab and stuff, right?
Sure. I mean, but that was a minor rebranding. That was, new website colors and a new logo and some new. This is a real major. This is almost a restructuring as well.
Right. Yeah. New departments. Yeah. I'll reach out again and see if we can get them on the show.
Yeah.
Get more information.
Yeah, I don't know if I like their new logo, to be honest. I like their old one better.
They should have hired you.
Yeah, this article that you sent me about Blitab, this is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, and we've heard about this company for a while. They were supposed to release a product, it looks like, in 2017, and that got delayed. But why don't you read a little bit about what this product is and some of the technology that it's using?
Yeah, so the Blitab is essentially, it's a portable tablet that is specifically designed for the visually impaired community. It looks a lot like any other tablet, except it's slightly thicker than something like an iPad, but it has two separate display fields. One on the bottom is a touch screen that where users would be able to select an app or a page or whatever, and then the top portion of the Blitab is basically a brailled surface.
Right, with haptics and...
Yeah, but where it really, what makes it a lot different is that Braille is not driven by conventional Braille technology, which is what do you call it? How do you say that?
Piezoelectric, I think.
Yes. Yeah. It's not driven by piezoelectric technology. Rick would be a better one to pronounce that. But it's this liquid-based technology. The tablet's glass is perforated by holes or cells, and then the Braille is actually created by this liquid-based technology that creates the tactile feel of the actual Braille. So it's not driven by the conventional piezoelectric technology that usually drives those Braille pins up and down on a refreshable Braille display. So it's pretty cutting edge.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We're seeing more and more companies try different technologies like magnets, and everybody's trying to bring the price of Braille down. And this is just another example. I think they're aiming at the $500 US price point.
That's
right?
exactly what makes this thing so exciting. Is that that's exactly what the price point that they're aiming for is $500, and it's full page Braille.
Yeah,
and we're not talking line by line. We're talking about being able to read a book just like the full page and being able to reproduce that Braille full page. Now, I guess the only caveat that I can see is that how good the Braille is.
And how quickly it refreshes. That's been an issue.
It's great that it's a new technology, but, if those Braille dots aren't raised high enough,
or sharp enough,
people aren't going to be able to read it properly.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere. It's just like the Orbit reader. We still don't have that available to us here in Canada, but again, another $500 price point, a new different technology to drive Braille, and again, it's another option. And they started somewhere, and let's hope this technology can only get better and better and cheaper and cheaper. I'd actually like to get a Blitab and just see how well it works. I think Steve should actually see if he can get one.
Yeah, well, then the really exciting, because they've been working on this since, I guess, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And like Ryan said, it was due to be out last year, but it got delayed. But they're saying that they're going to start taking pre-orders very soon, and they expect it to start shipping by the end of the year. So we could be seeing this thing by Christmas.
Yep, absolutely.
And now something that I didn't know is that now the company was actually started by this young lady. She's not even 30, or I think she just turned 30. Chritine Chaikin. She's got a bachelor's degree in industrial management and a master's in engineering, and she's kind of the brainchild of all this. And I watched a video with her. Very lovely lady, incidentally. She's very, very big hair. She's got 80s hair.
Does she?
But she's the brainchild of it all. She co-founded it, started it up, and she's been working hard getting investors, and sounds like it's been a pretty big task, but it sounds like it's nearly come to fruition. We've been keeping it. When did we first hear about this? It was last year sometime,
probably
right?
a year ago. Yeah, because we've been watching, other tablets like the Graffiti, the Blitab. There's been a couple of different examples of people trying this.
But not only, and again, the potential for this is not only, it goes even past Braille itself. It could be used as tactile graphics as well, right? So it could also be used to reproduce like stuff like graphics and maps and tactile, anything tactile really. So.
And the fact that it's, app-based, of course, your apps are going to have to support it. Hopefully developers jump on board and come up with some pretty amazing stuff. But
it's going to be cheaper than a Braille display. It will be lighter than a Braille display. If this technology works, it could really change the face of Braille technology going forward. And I know we keep saying that. We keep having these... we keep talking about all these products that it's like, man, if this thing works, it's going to change. It's going to change the face of Braille. So hopefully one of them lands soon.
Yeah, and I think, you mentioned the quality of the Braille. The Braille is going to have to be sharp for people. It's going to have to be fairly fast for people. One of their examples in there is have you tried reading a Harry Potter book on a single line Braille display? It would take you years.
Yes,
whereas
absolutely.
this is multi-line, so you could actually read a lot more fluently and efficiently.
Sure.
As long as the Braille's refreshing at your reading speed.
Yep.
And hopefully that's customizable. If not, I'm sure it'll come.
But you know what? I don't even know that really matter when it's full page Braille? Like you've essentially got a full page of Braille. It's like you're reading a...
Some people can read Braille really fast. So it's going to have to refresh. So even though you're reading, 11 lines of Braille or 40 lines or whatever a standard page is.
When you turn the page, it needs
to be there.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Or at least load the first 3 or 4 lines while you're reading, load the first 3 or 4 lines really fast so you can start reading right away, and it slowly loads the rest of the page.
But
right?
And I don't, obviously I don't know anything about the inner workings of the device, but it seems to me if it's this liquid-based technology, it also seems to me that you could probably have different settings in terms of the Braille itself. So you could have it, raising more or raising less depending on the sensitivity that you want.
Probably. There's
I mean, do regular Braille devices work like that? Like, can you alter?
I know JAWS has a dot firmness setting in it. So I don't think it really matters which Braille display you're using. You can actually go in and increase the dot firmness of your Braille display through JAWS. On the Braille displays themselves, no, you can't adjust the firmness.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not on the displays I'm familiar with anyway.
Well, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this device, the Blitab. We'll include a link to the article in the show notes. I would, anybody who's interested, I'd really encourage them to take a look at it because this thing is really cool.
Well, and think about it. You'd have a Braille tablet at your readiness. If you've got an Orbit, you've got a 20-cell Braille display, portable, throw in your laptop bag, and away you go.
Yep.
For $1,000, you've now got 2 Braille devices, and you still haven't come close to a standard Braille display price. This technology is exciting, and I'm really excited.
$500, like I can't get over that. $500, like in the assistive. We work in the assistive technology field. We know, and like there are not that many devices out there that are $500 that are this useful. I mean, there are devices that are $500, but they do one thing, and that's kind of it. Like this is unheard of that a device like this would be $500.
Well, and again, it all comes back to Braille literacy. They have statistics there that we'll link to in the show notes, but 75-80% of blind people out there don't know Braille.
Yeah.
Let's get Braille into more hands and let's increase literacy and employment and let's level the playing field.
Preach it, brother. All right. Well, should we talk about what we think is going to happen tomorrow at the Apple event?
If you're like me and have looked at all the news sources, I think you have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen at the Apple event.
Just for chuckles, and because people will be listening to this on Friday and be like, "Yeah, they're wrong. They're completely wrong about what they're going to talk about." So you know what? Just for humor's sake, let's
predict the future.
Let's predict the future.
All right.
Talk about what we think is going to be at the Big Apple event tomorrow, September 12th.
All right.
Give me an idea.
Well, I think according to the articles I read, and I agree to some extent, they are going to release 3 new iPhones. My concern is that their top-end iPhone, I've heard rumors of being about $2,000. And the other thing...
these guys are exhausting.
Well, they are, but the other thing I took away from the recent news is that their largest phone, the iPhone XS, I think, is that the new one? There's going to be an XS, an XR, and a third one.
An SX Max.
Right. So I think that's going to be the $2,000 phone.
Right.
But the thing I took away is it's going to be 6.5 inches. It wasn't that long ago that 7-inch tablets died. And we're getting back to that form factor. We're getting back to these large screen phones.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to find the sweet spot. They're trying to be like, big. Okay, this is too big. Okay, we dial it back, and then we make it a little bigger. And they're just trying to find that sweet spot to what people want.
And I'm not most people, but I've got a 5.7 or 5.8 inch phone now, and I find it too big. I want to go back to like my iPhone 4, my 4-inch or 5-inch phone that'll still fit in my pocket. 6-inch phone's too big. For me, anyway.
I think here's the problem is. The problem isn't the phones. The problem are pants. They just need to start.
Everybody needs to wear
partner
cargo
with pants. Yeah, exactly. And just make these big side pockets that you can put your big 7-inch phone into.
So your pants are hanging halfway down your ass.
That's the problem.
So yeah, I think there's going to be 3 phones. My concern is that they're not going to have a really kind of low to mid-range phone in the $300 to $500 price range.
You don't think they're going to?
No.
Oh, I think they're foolish if they don't.
I think they're foolish too, but I don't think they're going to.
I think that's where their main competition is.
I think their phones are going to start at $800.
I feel like people are getting phone fatigue, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just me, but I just get tired of who cares? Like at this point, because we've kind of gotten to a point where the technological advances are very small in increments, almost to where we don't even really notice them.
Yep, speed increases, new processors, they're just incremental updates. On phones.
My Pixel XL does everything that I need it to do.
Yep.
In my wildest dreams. So the iPhone XX Max, the iPhone XS Max does not thrill me at all. Like it's not going to be able to do anything that much better than my current phone.
Right. Unless we mentioned, there's a big push on AI. And I think I've heard there's going to be improvements to Siri. There's going to be some stuff. And I'll check out the Apple event on Tuesday the 12th as well to see how it turns out. But
wait a minute, the 12th.
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's Wednesday the 12th.
Okay, Wednesday the 12th. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. We got new phones coming. Finally, it sounds like we're going to have a new Mac Mini, which they haven't released since 2014.
Interesting.
Which is the computer form factor I've thought about jumping into if I go Mac.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's small. So the form factor is about the size of my computer there, maybe 8 inches tall.
Right.
Price points on the Mac Minis have been relatively inexpensive, like under $1,000.
Really?
I can't get a desktop PC for under $1,000, a Windows PC, unless I really want a piece of junk. So it's something I've thought about for years. I just haven't done it. All the Mac Pros, the iMacs, their laptops, they're all so expensive.
Yeah, they are.
To me, it just wasn't worth putting down that kind of money just to play around and learn a little bit of voiceover on a Mac. So I might look at the Mac Mini. I'm excited to see what that is like and what price point they're coming in at.
That's really. It sounds like they might be talking about an Apple Watch 4.
Yeah, a larger Apple Watch 4,
which could be interesting. But
AirPower.
What's AirPower?
AirPower is their wireless charging.
Oh, really?
So up until now, or maybe they had wireless charging in the current generation of iPhones. I'm not positive. New Apple Pods, is that what they're called?
AirPods?
The AirPods?
Yeah, that's right. Apple AirPods, which is the wireless earphones.
Right. So I think they're talking about noise cancellation and stuff.
Yeah, they want higher end. Like those things are already so expensive. Like what the hell?
Yeah. Well,
is it like $800 for a pair of?
If you're in the Apple
earbuds?
ecosystem, you're used to paying those premiums.
Good Lord, can you imagine jogging and then falling out of your?
Yeah.
Although they're talking about making these water resistant, so I guess you can just drop it into a puddle and
wipe it off, stick it back in your ear.
Go right back.
So I don't know. I think it's good that we have choice. But I really think all of these companies have to start being a little bit more realistic and bringing these prices into range of everybody, not just the premium elite. Because, here in Canada, I'm tired of 2-year contracts just to get a subsidized phone. I would love to be able to pay $500-$600, buy my phone outright, and have a current phone, have a premium phone, not have to settle for low-end specs or low-end RAM or storage, and I can't do that. I don't have $1,000 to put down on a phone every year.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
that's your fault, loser.
I guess so. Yeah. So yeah.
No. Yeah. It's true. But I don't know. I don't think it'll happen. I just think that Apple has cemented their place in and their reputation in being the top end of everything, and that's where they want to stay. They don't, the idea of creating something that's mid-range or even low cost, I think to them is...
They had the iPhone SEs, right, which were their low end, $300 to $400 phones, and for most people would have been more than adequate. Most people are probably checking their email, Twitter, Facebook, and making calls on their phone, and I guess playing games if you're sighted,
right?
And maybe audiobooks, but you really don't need a lot of processing power to do that kind of stuff. So really, why do you need to spend $1,000 on a phone? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that power to do what 90% of the population is using that device for.
No.
So I just don't understand the relatively between price and usability.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think people are getting a little bit of tech burnout in terms of these big events.
Well, we've got the Apple one now. Next month we have Google's.
Again?
Yeah, Google's announcing their new Pixel lineup, as well as maybe some other new products. So
Yeah,
Google's out the Pixel 3's coming out. And then also in October, Microsoft is releasing the next version of Windows 10. So it's Apple, Google, Microsoft. Boom, boom, boom. Christmas, Christmas, here we come.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yep.
Man, I feel like we just watched a Google event.
We did.
And now they're having another one.
Yep. But this is, I think, more surrounded about the release of the Pixel 3s.
Yeah, the phones. I've been seeing a lot of stories about the Pixel 3 and what people think it's going to be. So
yeah, people
are excited, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and I've said this on the show multiple times. The one nice thing I like about Android is if you don't want to spend $1,200 or $1,000 on the high end, Pixel 3, then go buy a Motorola G5 or G6 or whatever for $500.
Yeah,
it'll still do all the same stuff you want it to do.
Right.
It just doesn't have the Google branding, and it's not the high end processor. We've just got more choice.
Yep.
Thank you, Google, for choice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's kind of all I got for news. What about you?
Nope. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, good. Then let's jump in and let's talk to Chritine.
Alrighty.
And get a little bit of an insight into insightful publications.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. I'm a professional.
You are.
I'll be here all evening.
All right. So joining us today on the AT Banter podcast, we have Chritine Chaikin from Insightful Publications. Welcome, Chritine.
Thanks for having me on again.
Tell us a little bit about Insightful Publications and what you do there and how it came about.
It basically came about, well, first I had my old company called Helping the Blind and Visually Impaired. And then people were asking me, how to find different resources. That's when I figured out, well, it needs to be all compiled in one place. And that way, you wouldn't have to go through so many different search results and then having to find links that don't work either. This way, everything would be up to date.
Okay, so that was the old company. So what led you to change the company? Or
And I decided to change it to Insightful Publications because I figured if I was going to be creating state resource handbooks specifically designed for use by the blind and visually impaired, that seemed to be a better name to fit it compared to the Helping the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Right. So where do you gather all your information for the different state resources?
I get them from list of bookmarks that I have, different podcasts that I listen to, different publications that I get. And when I say publications, I'm talking about like the Braille Forum, Braille Monitor, Chronicle, just to name a few.
And what types of resources are in your resource books?
It includes many organizations for the blind and visually impaired, covering areas such as employment, housing, transportation, and more. It also includes contact information on the local, regional, and national level. Now, to give you an idea as to how the book is laid out, because this is a question I get a lot, and that is, it basically includes the company name, all the contact information, the website address, and then also a short description about that company. So it's like that for each listing. And there's a total of 17 different categories in each state resource handbook. Now, do you guys want me to go over the categories? I can.
Sure, let's talk a little bit about the categories.
With introduction, organizations for the blind and visually impaired, benefits, employment, federal, housing, free screen readers, independent living centers, listserv, Lions Club, library service, national information services for the blind and visually impaired, referral and service, senior centers, support groups, transportation, and vendors for the blind and visually impaired.
Now, are your books only electronic, or can people request Braille copies?
I do have them in electronic format, which means that they would, so if they pick Microsoft Word, PDF, rich text format, one of those file attachments would be sent to them by email with an attachment. I can do large print hard copy upon request. My resource books are not available in the following formats of Braille hard copy, audio CD, National Library Service, digital cartridge, and regular print.
And is there a cost for your resource books?
Yes, they are available for purchase. The smaller books are individuals, 50, organizations, 175, seniors, 45, and then the larger books are 65 for individuals, 185 organizations, and 60 for seniors. And the reason that the organization price is higher is because they are like an entity.
Now, how many states do you have resource books for?
Going on, as of this month, it'll be going on 39.
Wow.
So how long does it take you typically to do a resource book?
A lot of the sections are the same, so really I can reuse a lot of the same sections. So the only thing I'm really changing is a link to that one particular state. The hardest part is waiting to hear back from the people to see if they want to be included, as well as, waiting for them to give you the contact info. So what I usually do is I send them an email, and then I just gather the contact info off their contact us page of their website. So in that way, I can get it out as soon as possible, just because with everything changing, you can't really be waiting too long, especially when websites address change, phone numbers, etc. Now, as far as updates go, I'll send out an email as a friendly reminder just in case people want to purchase the updated book. And I also put that same updated information on our social media, so like our Facebook page, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
So do you also include resources for, not just visually impaired and low vision, but, deaf or hearing impaired or any other disabilities?
Those are not included in that, because that would be like a whole nother category, like a whole nother book.
Right.
People have asked me, well, why don't you add this section? I said, these books already have 17 categories. I go, I think that's long enough, because you don't want to overwhelm people. It's already 100 and something pages as it is.
Yeah, it's like going through really large websites, trying to drill down and find the information you want.
And then what I do is, like, when I update, I'll just put updated and whatever that date happens to be. So the only time I don't put a book out is in December. So that's when I go back in through each one of my books in December and check on my link to make sure they work. And if they don't work, then I'll, take it out.
Right. So what book are you currently working on?
Actually, I'm getting ready to put out the New Hampshire book. Hopefully, I'm shooting for it by the 17th of this month at the latest. I normally put books out on the 1st, but you know how it is when you're one behind.
Yep.
And people always have asked me, they go, well, do you have a staff? No, I don't. It's a one-person operation.
And how long have you been working on the books? Because so you've done 39 states in how long?
Oh, I started the company in December of 2009, so probably since then.
So that's a huge task for one person.
It is. And not to mention that one time I didn't back everything up, so I lost everything, so I kind of had to recreate everything again.
Yeah, it's one of those lessons that are learned hard.
Yeah, I've learned that lesson a couple times.
I still haven't learned that lesson. I still take my chances and rarely backs. Well, I shouldn't say that. I use OneDrive now, so everything important is being backed
drive
up.
Too.
Yep.
So now, Chritine, if someone's interested in checking to see if a resource book is available for their state, where can they go on the web to find you?
They can go to our website, which is in-sightful.com, or they can go to that same website, in-sightful.com/orderpage.html, and that'll give them information on pricing, the formats that's available and not available in, and all the states that are available for purchase as of right now.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, so this is an incredibly valuable resource that you're providing for people. So, I'd encourage anybody who's interested to check out in-sightful.com and go check out what Chritine has to offer.
And can I I forgot to give my email address.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. How can they contact you through email?
Insightful, so it's INSIGHTFULPUB@gmail.com.
All right, Chritine, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem.
Okay, you take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks, bye-bye. But, it is one of those things that is a very handy resource. If you're, a family or newly blind, where would you go? Like here in Canada, everybody thinks of CNIB. But in the States, there's so many more resources, so many sources of information, NFB, ACB.
Right.
If you want audio, there's, like she says, there's Newsline, there's all sorts of sources, Bookshare.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I think it's a very helpful resource.
Yeah, well, absolutely, for sure. And it is a huge amount of work to compile all that information. So,
well, and it'd be nice if we had something like that in Canada, because we do have the CNIB, the CFB, the CCB.
Yeah.
AEBC.
Yeah.
So
many little independent arms doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it really hard to really lock down something that might work for you or somebody for sure. So, well, good for Chritine. Hopefully, like I said, anybody who's interested in seeing if something's available for their particular state. I mean, she's got 39 out of 51, so covers a majority of the country, of the U.S.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we do need something for sure, something like that in Canada. See, there you go, Ryan. That's what you can do.
That's right.
Give me your next career path.
Alrighty.
Hey, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Where can people find us?
They can find us at atbanter.com.
They can also find us at they can also email us if they desire, atbanterpodcast@gmail.com.
We are also on Facebook, atbanter.
And we are on Twitter, @_banter.
And we are on Instagram, but I don't know if there's been much posted recently.
@banter.
At ATBanter. So, Rob, where can people find Canadian Assistive Technology?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. They can find Canadian Assistive Technology on the internet at www.canastech.com. Hey, Ryan, where can people find Mr. Rick Chant at Chaos Technical Services?
Online as well at chaostechnicalservices.com.
Anything you would like to get fixed, assistive technology-wise, he can help you with.
Usually.
With a smile.
Rick, a smile?
All right. I think that's going to about do it for this week for us. I got to go finish a catalog.
All right. Let's go.
All right. So thanks, everybody, for listening in. And
we'll see you next time.
And that's my line. I always do that. What are you doing?
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions across Canada. Find us online at www.canastech.com. That's CANASSTECH.com. Or call us toll free at 1-844-795-8324. For all your assistive technology servicing needs, call Chaos Technical Services at 778-847-6840 or find them online at chaostechnicalservices.com. Music provided by bensound.com.
Whoa, look at that. Master of the one take.